We set out to find out what effect cosplay has had on people's lives. With help from Matt Lee and Melissa Drury, we dive into the lives of cosplayers and how it shaped their hobbies, relationships, and even careers. All over the UK and the world, conventions are held to celebrate people's love of TV, animation, comics, films, and video games. Some dedicated fans show their love by dressing up or cosplaying as their favourite character. We witnessed the birth of a new convention, Reading Comic Con. Reading Comic Con had its debut on the 25th to the 26th of November 2016, and we were lucky enough to be there live and see the magic. The dedication of some people who not only wear their costumes, but treat them like a second skin by getting fully immersed and becoming their characters is outstanding. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Okay, my name is Melissa. I do cons and cosplay, video games. Officially, I'm a bartender, but I am also a qualified LED saber, aka lightsaber instructor.
Hi, I'm Matthew Lee, or Matt Lee, or just Matt sometimes, if I choose to introduce myself that way. I'm a musician. I write music for all kinds of projects, small games, small short animations, hopefully bigger animations one day, and other larger projects. Mostly terrible metal.
How did you first hear about cosplaying conventions?
I think it's just one of those things you kind of... My particular group of friends were already quite nerdy, so it's kind of you hear about it on the grapevine, like San Diego Comic-Con's just on this big high pedestal that's sort of like, one day we'll go. But it actually ended up with just a friend saying like, hey, London Comic-Con's in a few weeks, you want to go? And it's like, yeah, right. So, yeah. But now I've gone like every single year since then, so, yeah.
I first heard about cosplay through the same girlfriend who helped me with my first costume as well. When she first told me about it, I was mildly skeptical about how enjoyable it would be. She originally sold it to me as mostly by just yelling the words "costume character" over and over again. But she wanted to do it. I was interested and foolishly devoted, so I did it with her, and I think it's kind of just been something I wanted to do constantly ever since.
My first convention would have been the October MCM, when it was not Comic-Con, it was still Expo, MCM Expo. I still call it Expo. Yeah, it was a lot smaller then than it is now. I think that broke a record for 90,000 people there, and the most recent one I went to hit 130,000. Bit smaller than it is now. I think that was like not even half the space that the Excel Centre has, and now it takes up nearly the whole thing. But yeah.
The first convention I went to was MCM Expo. Before it was called Comic Con, it was, like again, it was 2007. I think it was, was it May? It might be May. It was so much smaller at the time as well. Like there was, like when you go now, it's like it's packed wall to wall. It's full of cosplayers. All the convention halls are stuff. When I first went, there was like 30 people in costume, and we were like wandering around like really nervous, like, oh crap, should we be in cosplay right now? But yeah, that was the first time I went to. I think it's probably been my main convention as well. I've been meaning to see other ones. KitaCon's one I've been looking at a lot, and mostly I'm just really lazy and haven't got around to it.
When did you first cosplay?
First started cosplaying in about 2010, I think, so 6 years ago. That it depends on your definition of a cosplay, if you count just cat ears and a tail and a normal outfit as cosplay. But yeah, I do, so it counts. But I didn't properly get cosplaying until the year after that. Sherlock. It was BBC Sherlock, so I had the big trench coat and the deerstalker on. I also had a free hug sign. I got a lot of free hugs. That was fun. I also did that same weekend con. I did Loki from the Avengers, which I think actually ended up with my mum making most of that one.
My first cosplay was Izzy Sparks. It was a character from Guitar Hero 1, when they looked like big and clunky and really ridiculous. I had no idea what I was doing, but that's what I did anyway.
Are there any cosplays you're working on now or would like to do in the future?
Next cosplay on my mile-long list that I want to do would be Yennefer of Vengerberg from The Witcher 3, her alternate outfit. I also want to do Salem again with the right costume. I want to do Morrigan from Dragon Age. I want to do the doll from Bloodborne at some point. That's a bit further down the line. Beyblades. Want to do Beyblades. I've been wanting to do them for ages and I've just not got around to
it. There's so many characters I want to do. A lot of it involves making either big weapons or a lot of armor, which means fabricating. So, as my earlier mentioned, fabrication foam debacle. I'm learning to do it, but it's a lot more work than not that it's not more work than I'm willing to do, but it's so much more work than I think it will be every time. I've started drafting out like a chess piece for Artorias, the Abyss Walker from Dark Souls, which it's cool. It's one of my favorite characters, and when I keep looking at all the stuff I've done, I keep going, oh, that's so much work. Oh, that's so much time. I'll come back to it. And then the problem is I keep saying I'll come back to it. But no, Artorias from Dark Souls. I want to do McCree from... I hope it says McCree. Yes, McCree from Overwatch. And Reinhardt as well. But then Reinhardt is, again, this huge armoured thing. And he's got this gigantic hammer. And it's a bit daunting to start on projects like that. Because the worst thing I can imagine is getting started, making a whole bunch of props, making a whole bunch of the costume, and then looking at it and deciding either I don't like it, or if I put it on, I kind of go, oh, this is wrong. And like with fabric, I can find mistakes more forgivable, or I can find them easier to repair. But if it's something like foam, which I've cut out and I've glued together and I've painted it, and I look at it and I go, I don't like this, then it's a lot more heartbreaking, which has been a lesson I had to learn very painfully with a lot of tears.
Do you make your own costumes and props?
I'll make if I can buy bits, then I will. I've gotten very good at hunting on eBay and Amazon and stuff, but yeah, sometimes you can't find what you need, so you have to make it yourself. So for my Salem cape, I made the cape and I made the wig, and I swear to God I'm never doing that again. Made bits of my Loki one. I've done Mononoke. I made the cape from that completely from scratch. That was my own pattern. I'm not so good at making props. I haven't quite got that worked out, but some of my future planned cosplays are going to need things like Warbler and foam and stuff, so I'm going to have to.
Yeah. I had my girlfriend at the time was helping me. She was as bad at it as I was. It was mostly a lot of PVC, a lot of gluing it to clothes or stitching it almost randomly onto my body.
What do you consider your biggest cosplay success?
I'd say my Mononoke cosplay was pretty good. I got a lot of people really liked my Salem one. Probably because it was probably the most complex. Like the wig ended up being like 2 wigs on top of each other and full face paint and huge cape. So it looked interesting and good. So people were like, "Oh, I don't even know what it is, but it looks amazing."
I'd say my biggest success. So my biggest success is the character panel that I did with the Homestuck group. It was the first of its kind in the UK, and we've inspired a lot of other people to do the same thing. And it wouldn't have happened if I hadn't painted myself like a clown from space, and it also wouldn't have happened if I hadn't reached out to these other people and like made it happen, made people come together. So I guess my biggest success is kind of helping to inspire these people to do this thing that we were watching Americans do like a year ago.
How about biggest failure?
Biggest failure? Probably just props. I don't work well with props. I did Blake Belladonna from Ruby as well, but I tried to make her a Gamble Shroud sword. That went through about 4 or 5 iterations before it was finally it'll do, made out of cardboard from the skip in our front yard. It was not so good, and it was in the bin before I made it home.
What is your favourite cosplay you've done?
I have done Rey from Star Wars Episode 7, and I absolutely love that one because I used that with the lightsaber thing, with the Silver Sabers is the group name, but teaching kids how to be a Jedi dressed as Rey, and all of their kids is sort of like, oh my god, I'm learning Jedi tricks from Rey. It's amazing. Makes my day. The other one would be Salem from Ruby, which I actually made before we actually knew what her costume looked like. We had a back shot and a face shot. So I estimated the rest of the costume, and it was completely wrong. But it was still good, and everybody loved it, and I was the only Salem at the Rooster Teeth meet, and it was amazing. Everybody loved it.
That's a really hard question. My favorite, that's not, I know which one it is, but it's embarrassing to describe. My favorite one is God Tier Gamzee, which was made me look like a giant purple ice cream cone. I had it's like a clown costume. I had a codpiece, which is probably the most attention drawing piece of costume I've had in a very long time. The looks of people as I walk past, like, oh look, it's a purple clown, and there is a gigantic purple codpiece just hanging around. No one said codpiece, of course. That's not what they ever called it. It's only what I told them it was.
What has cosplay taught you?
It's taught me a lot of skills that I've learned, like fabric resistances and way certain glues, materials that I use, and like ways they interact with one another. The last costume I did was all about fabrication of like a helmet, like a big head, and like learning how poorly I understand how foam interacts with glue and heat and things was a process. It was an interesting process to learn. The thing I finished, it looked nearly like what I wanted to make. Really nearly.
Tell me more about your lightsaber training.
We teach a sort of amalgamation of Tai Chi, mostly Tai Chi, Qigong, and sort of medieval reenactments stuff. But we're using the lightsabers. It's a aluminium hilt with an LED light and a polycarbonate tube, which we can use because it means that we can hit each other and not kill each other.
Have you met many people through conventions and cosplay?
Yeah, no, probably more than I'm willing to admit. When I got into some later stuff, I started cosplaying Homestuck characters, and through that I met a whole bunch of nerds, to put it nicely. And through that we started a panel, like a fan panel, where people come see us on stage and we would respond to questions they asked in character. So there was, I think at some points there was like 20 of us on stage just babbling total nonsense at groups of people.
A lot of people. I've met some friends that like will meet up every con that we're all there. We'll go out to dinner. I think maybe we're actually getting a whole flat together for the weekend, which is going to be hilarious. I actually met my boyfriend at the second to last one I did. That was actually a sales pitch. I was working for Silver Sabers. We were doing demonstrations and exhibitions and stuff, and doing the whole sort of like, hey, so are you interested in what we're doing? And then we were talking for like an hour when I was supposed to be talking to other people, and then we just hit it off from there. But yeah, I met my boyfriend at con.
Cosplay has affected the lives of millions of people worldwide and will continue to do so for years to come. This once small community has grown rapidly over the last decade until it has become the behemoth it is today, inspiring careers and allowing people to form lasting bonds with others who share the same love and passion. When will you join in and try on your very own second skin?